unless we can finish up.
Yeah, because we still have 2 more and the conclusion after this. So,
Oh, no. In another life, I could have been Frank Sinatra.
oh my lord.
I believe it. Are we recording?
We sure are.
Lovely.
You're on with Librarians Incorporated. Welcome back. So far, we've talked a bit about other characters and their relationships with Will. But what about Will himself? His conflict is the driving force of this whole book. And I think that Reynolds does a really good job of making his conflict inside of himself just deepen and deepen and deepen. For those of you who haven't read the book, it centers around Will, who is deciding if he should or should not shoot someone who he thinks has killed his brother. And that's the whole point of the whole book. And I think that Reynolds does a great job evolving that internal conflict as he goes floor to floor.
Yeah, like, because each floor, like, the first floor, we knew basically nothing about what was going on. We just knew there were rules. Will had to follow them, and his brother died, which is why he's following these rules. But as we kept going through the more floors, we learned a little bit more about, like, Will and, like, other struggles he's had in his life. And, like, characters he has relationships with, which kind of just, like, piece everything together.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like it. I like all the characters as well. I know we're going back to characters, but they really do.
They help the conflict out. Because,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
each time we meet a character who knows Will, they're just questioning him, like, are you really able to kill someone? And which makes Will further question himself, like, am I?
What's interesting to me also is how each one of them is kind of like Will in a sense. Uncle Mark as well went through the same thing if he's trying, well actually Uncle Mark never shot anyone, but even still he understands Will and is saying, okay man, what are you gonna do? Are you actually gonna go shoot this person? And there's this really, really powerful quote. Zoe, could you read it for us?
The quote is, "And shoots." Uncle Buck finished it for me. Said it slowly, dragging out the shh. Then I could finally painfully hack it up. And shoots.
I mean, like, it really just, obviously he doesn't want to because he's struggling even with the idea of doing it.
He's struggling even saying it.
Yeah.
And like, don't you think, like, in the first floor, like, it didn't seem like he cared all that much. He was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this
Yeah.
thing.
He seems so confident in the first floor, but then, like, meeting his family members, people who knew him, people who were starting to question him, he's like,
Yeah.
am I really able to do this?
Yeah.
And you know, go ahead.
Like, him knowing that, like, a lot of his family members and loved ones kind of went through this, and seeing that, like, each case against violence and seeing that it all had negative consequence kind of makes him want to go against that and break that cycle. And it really, like, helps him realize what the conflict is.
And although I think the reason I really, really like this book is because even though it ends on a huge cliffhanger, we actually never know if he does or does not. Reynolds does a really good job of pointing us in the direction of where it's probably going to go, which is with him not shooting Will. Because by the end, he is like, okay, I can't do this, right? He's upset because he's encountered so many people who have told him he can't do it, and he's realized the consequences that kind of stuff has had. And I think that Reynolds overall, just, again, does an amazing job developing the conflict throughout this whole book.
Next section.
Zoe, you lucked out. I'm not gonna lie, you so lucked out. Because you were really talking a whole lot, and I was about to be like, okay, Zoe, blah, 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 blah.
Okay,
But then you
Zoe.
added